Sometimes all you need is a good, feel-good film to cheer you up. Let's talk about Wonka. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now, in case you're new to the channel, I'll just give you a wee heads up. Don't worry, I'm not going to mention it in every video, but I feel this is what I'm going to do for one last time. No images in the video right now because I've got a lot to do. Currently I've got a lot of projects running, so I won't have time to actually add all the images that I usually do. There might be some, but they'll be used sparsely. I'm sorry about that. I hope eventually at some point I'll be able to return to my format because I myself enjoyed it a lot more. So anyway, if you need to have visual impressions of the film, please do look it up. You know, you'll find videos on YouTube or you'll find images on Google search, all these kind of things, if that is something you, like I, are interested in. Anyway, Wonka, right? I was curious to watch this film. I didn't catch it in cinemas. It was rather successfully worldwide. It performed really, really well, a lot better than I expected it to anyway. Saw this while I was on holiday. It was rather cheap, it was discounted, so I thought, yeah, I'll pick up the Blu-ray, film to watch for the whole family. I'm a big fan of the 1971 Gene Wilder, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, isn't it? That's what it's called. The book is actually called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. And the 2005 version with Johnny Depp, made by Tim Burton, is also called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 1971 is called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Anyway, doesn't matter. But I'm a big fan of that film, so to me that is the definitive version. I've actually never read the book. I should probably get around to doing that at some point. I mean, this is now the third iteration, or at least third film with this character, you know, that I'm watching, so I might as well at some point turn to the book to actually check the source material. I'm a big fan of that story. I love Gene Wilder's portrayal. Whether it's correct or not, you know, famously Roald Dahl, he hated it. And while there is a follow-up story involving, I think, the glass elevator or something, the film rights were not given to Warner Brothers. Apparently he was so appalled by what they did. Regardless, I thought it was brilliant. If you watch it nowadays, you're like, how on earth did people let their kids watch this, including my parents? Like, I immediately decided for myself, I'm going to wait a few years until I show my daughter this film. But I love it. I think it's great. I love how quirky Gene Wilder is. He's got this sort of sense of mystery and a bit of danger, but he at his core still seems caring about the children, you know, in a weird and wonderful way. Just to talk about it as well briefly, the Johnny Depp version, I saw it in cinemas. I actually haven't seen it since then, so it's nearly been 20 years since I saw it. I just remember not being a too big fan of it because Willy Wonka and that is a bit over the top, the sort of really, really creepy. I don't know, it's like if you don't rein in Tim Burton and Johnny Depp a bit. That's what it feels like to me, you know? It's a bit over the top and he was too creepy for my liking. It was just a bit, okay, you know. Yeah, the thing was a bit weird, right? Although it was visually very appealing, yeah, I remember, you know, not being a big fan of the portrayal, as it were, and the design as well with the haircut, etc. Yeah, I didn't like that too much. Anyway, I was really curious to watch this. I actually didn't realize until I was watching the film that it is actually not just an homage to the 1971 version, it's actually acting a bit as a prequel as well. So, yeah, it's really, really cool. So that's what the basis of it is. It's the question of what happens, or what was the previous story to Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka. You know, how did he get to be the person he was? Which I find really cool because that is the definitive version for me. It's really cool to get, you know, a broadening of that world, right? So that is what this is about. So let's jump right into the plot. So we're focused on a very young Willy Wonka. He is returning from his travels from all over the world, you know, seeing a lot of things, discovering animals, and also the various things they can deliver to him that he can use in his chocolate making. He is in England. This is where he's now, at least, trying to find his base of operations. He's trying to establish himself as a chocolate maker. We learn early on that the place where he wants to do it, there are 3 other chocolate makers, you know, Slugworth most prominently among them. I mean, that's a name, obviously, that rings a bell immediately. They obviously don't want this new guy appearing on the scene, especially one who's really, really good at making chocolate. So this is what we see, and Willy Wonka has the additional difficulty that He rents an apartment. I'm sorry, by the way, if I'm glistening and I'm constantly wiping my forehead here. It's got like 34 degrees today and I have to close all the windows, otherwise it's going to be too loud. So unfortunately this means I am glistening and I am wiping sweat. So I hope you don't mind that. I really apologize for it. There's just no other way currently for me to make this video. So yeah, apologies. Anyway, Willy Wonka, he needs a place to stay. He finds this guest house. Unfortunately, the owner of the guest house tricks him into a huge amount of money that he is now having to pay to her, so he is in debt, and he forcefully has to work for her laundry service, right? And the basic gist of the story is he and the other people who have been forced to, who are now having to do this forced labor, they are trying to get this chocolate shop, the chocolatier, whatever you want to call it. They're trying to get it up and running so that they can, well, not only free themselves obviously from this life of forced labor, but yeah, to just celebrate the deliciousness of Willy Wonka's chocolate. That is the main story of it. I really like it. It's kept very simple. What I really like about it is it's a very cheerful film. It's very positive. You know, people, I'm thinking, you know, not only about the Gene Wilder version, but the Johnny Depp one as well. People focus a lot on the weirdness of Willy Wonka, you know, and he's weird here as well, but not in a creepy way. It's not like, oh, he's hiding some dark secrets. It's just like, this guy is very naive, you know, he can't possibly believe that people betray him. He sees the good in people, and he's just got all these weird and wonderful things that he says, and quirky experiences he's gone through, and all these things. That's what he brings to the table. I really like it, I must say. I think especially for kids, I think this is a really cool approach. It's new, at least from the films. Again, I don't know what he's like in the book. At least film-wise, this seems to be a new approach. And I think it fits in well with the Gene Wilder version, you know, thinking at some point, you know, he lost a bit of his world wonder, but it's still there. You can sort of still see a bit of it in him, but you know, he's obviously gotten older and matured and all these kind of things. So yeah, I like the wonder that this film brings. It's got a lot of musical pieces in it. It's not a musical. It's been described, even by the director himself, as being a film with songs, you know. And that is how I would describe it as well. So yeah, they sort of accompany you through the film. They're placed very well. They're fine. Some are better than others, of course. In particular, I love Pure Imagination, you know, the 1971 song that was used in the film that was sung by Gene Wilder. I love that to bits. I think it's a really great, it makes me really nostalgic just hearing that song. I've even got it in my collection somewhere. And they use it here as well. And I really love that. Like, it ties the films together so well. And I just love the idea of having this film where you're celebrating imagination and chasing your dreams and all that. I think it's got a really, really good message for kids. It's fun, it's enjoyable, you've got silly things happening, there's good humor in it. There's not really much bad I can say about it. I like the design of everything. The whole thing seems a bit small, thinking of Willy Wonka. You know, you've got obviously huge, you're thinking about colourful landscapes and the factory, not here yet, of course, but still, you're expecting the chocolate waterfall and all these kind of things. There's not too much of that. So, you know, if you're expecting the big firework, I'll call it, they don't quite have that in this. Maybe they're working on a second one. It is a standalone film. It works as a standalone film. Who knows, they might get to continue this journey, then we might get to see more of that wonderful world, that colourful world that we are used to. But just generally, the design, I love the clothes and the sets. I think they're designed lovingly, you know, so with some attention to detail. Particularly all the things that are chocolate related and the making of the chocolate. I really liked all the designs there. That fits really well with what we are used to from the Gene Wilder version. Also, I think it's great that Willy Wonka here is also portrayed as an inventor, so we get to see various things where he shows this inventive nature of his, this engineering nature of it, which I find was really cool. Timothée Chalamet, I was a bit doubtful at first whether he could be a good Willy Wonka. You know, I was like, it's the guy from June. You're expect, you know, we've come from, I mean, this after having seen Dune Part 2, where you've got, you know, this young man where he's got literally the weight of the universe on his shoulders, and he's leading armies and, you know, giving massive speeches of huge import, etc. half a year later, I'm watching him as Willy Wonka doing silly things and trying to rhyme words with noodles, and it's really good. I must say, he pulled it off really well. I thought he did a great job, singing wise, dancing wise, just the whole performance. I think it's great to see that he can, you know, lead a film in these roles as well. So he was perfectly cast, if you ask me. Yeah. I don't really have anything bad to say about this film. It's very fun. The younger your kids are, the less they might enjoy it. I would say it's a bit for older kids. There's not too much, you know, compared to your typical animation film. There's not too much entertainment in here. So yeah, they might feel a bit bored. But apart from that, really fun film for the whole family, especially if you like song and dance. And yeah, just going after your dreams. And chocolate, of course. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate everywhere. Yeah. That will be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about this film or the other Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory films. The book as well, of course. If you want to tell me about comparisons, you know, things that obviously this was not written as a book, but apparently Roald Dahl himself was interested and tried several times to write short stories, etc. about Willy Wonka's previous life, but never quite got around to doing it. So I think it's kind of cool that somebody else has said, okay, well, you know, he obviously was interested, he couldn't do it himself, but, you know, let's follow that instinct and dream, you know, what is there? What could a version of the story be? Obviously, it's not the definitive one. But again, if you like the 1971 version, I think this fits really well with it. And it'd be cool to watch both of them after each other. I'll really have to do that at some point, I think now. I'll thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care, bye.